Why am I not surprised in reading this report? So, first of all, yes, when there is violence in our region, there are immediate repercussions around the world with the association of anti-Semites between any Jew anywhere and whatever Israel does. So that is... on the one hand, it is predictable, and on the other, it is more limited in time. I'm more worried about the structural developments that this report shows, the rise of some kind of endemic anti-Semitic sentiment, certainly in Europe, but also in the United States. And I'd like to dwell on it just a moment, because clearly periods of uncertainty, of crises associated with all sorts of conspiracy theories, when you have all that, anti-Semitism is never very far away.
Now, this armed hostage attack last week in Texas, now this is finally fully referred to as an anti-Semitic incident by the FBI, but it had an international angle here. The suspect himself coming from the UK, focused on really worldwide issues and targeting this small Jewish community in Texas to take out those issues. Now, is that a reminder to all the world's Jews, essentially, that you can be associated with these issues no matter where you are?
That is perfectly true. And it also demonstrates that there is a close connection between seemingly harmless sort of cultural anti-Semitism, something that sinks into the discourse in any society, and then it moves on to more extreme language, mostly on social media, and then you have manifestations of it on the walls in big cities, and then suddenly you have these peak events that are very violent and that can cost human lives, and we've seen that in Europe for many, many years, for decades, and we are seeing a growth in this chain of events in the United States too, and I think that there is a serious reason for concern.
Now, from the Israeli angle here, I believe Israelis were polled in this report too, saying some 50% prefer to hide their identities when traveling around the world, which is something Israelis do often. This is a long-held concept in Israel, though, of not being openly Jewish or Israeli in the public there. It's just, where does the plight of Israelis now fit into this picture?
Well, if Israelis don't feel comfortable when they leave the country, don't feel comfortable identifying as Israelis, then this is a sentiment that has some roots. That it comes from somewhere. They read about anti-Semitic incidents. They read reports like this, and they know that they are not necessarily welcome if they identify themselves openly as Jews and Israelis. I think it's a very sad development, and I personally don't usually hide my identity anywhere I go, but I can understand people who are reluctant in certain countries to show off their identity. But that... as they used to say, anti-Semitism is not the problem of the Jews only, it's the problem of the anti-Semites, and it's certainly the problem of countries that are certainly not anti-Semitic in themselves, but that harbor growing numbers of anti-Semites. And I know that certain countries in Europe take this very seriously, and the educational system and the law enforcement system and the judicial system are very clear about this. I'm not sure how seriously the general public, the general society in the United States is taking this yet, and I think it's time for a wake-up call there too.
Important point to mention there, the top-down combating anti-Semitism that we see in so many countries around the world here.
The message from the elite is extremely important.
Absolutely. Daniel Shek, Ambassador, thanks for being with us.